Hi-ya!
Pow.
Season 2. The moment where cartoon creators realize, hey, our show's a hit, our characters and world are established, let's start experimenting. And experimentation is exactly what goes on in the second season of We Bare Bears. We get all kinds of welcome surprises here. New characters, new narrative devices, episodes that lean less towards comedy and more towards mystery and drama, the first double-length episode, the first holiday special. There's a lot of fresh fun to enjoy here. But luckily, they don't stray away from their roots completely, as there's still plenty of charming slice-of-life episodes featuring the bears being hilarious, adorable, or most of the time both. And it still succeeds in being a show I put on whenever I just want to smile. Overall, when you combine the mixture of old and new elements, the short and sweet length of 26 episodes, and the fact that some of my favorite stories in the whole series are present here, I would definitely say that Season 2 is my favorite of the current 4. But you guys aren't here for general praise, you're here for details. So allow me to go over every episode in 10 words or less, and reveal what I think are the best of the bunch. As per usual, you can leave your own favorites list in the comments below, and if you want to know my thoughts on the first season, and also We Bare Bears as a whole, I'll leave a link in the description for you to check out. But for now, let's see the results of the creators' experimentations.
That was such a reach.
As we reveal every episode of We Bare Bears Season 2 reviewed in 10 words or less. The way all three stories come together is just beautiful. Chloe is a precious bean, protect her at all costs! If you truly love your food, set it free. Wait, follow him? Ha! And he's so short people can barely see him! Am I right? Yeah? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm right.
The Hidden Lair of Amazon Prime Air, tonight on Rangers.
A triple bidet? Ice Bear's got class. Everyone's either a jerk or treated horribly. No, thank you. Slasher movie style tension? There's an app for that.
So then I told him, businessman? Don't you mean griznessman?
Really nice song. And really creepy guy. That went from zero to pandemic really quick. Charlie is Valid, the episode. It's magically hilarious! Also, is that director the angry video game nerd, or am I just crazy? I'm crying over a crab! How did they do this?
I have had it with these bears on this...
Ooh, pancakes. Only Ice Bear could make riding a Roomba look cool. Learning about characters through their YouTube videos? I love it! Aw, little baby Tabes. She's a tabby. Chloe is the 5th Powerpuff Girl confirmed. Saving chickens from nut jobs. Grizz is the hero we need. Watching this is holiday tradition for me. Aw, jeez, do you know how expensive those drones are? Yes, friends don't need everything in common. Thank you. Saw the ending coming, but pretty solid build-up. Now, just like last time, I'm only going to be doing a top 3 best for this season, because most of the lesser episodes are either not really that bad, or all bad in the exact same ways, which would leave me with almost nothing to talk about. However, I did promise that if there was a bad enough episode, I would break it down for you. And oh boy, this one's a contender for worst of the series, and one I've disliked for a long time. So let's cover that first. Number 1 worst, losing Ice. You know, from a base level standpoint, this seems like the hardest premise to screw up. Ice Bear as a brother feels unappreciated and goes off on his own. Grizz and Panda slowly realize through tragic circumstances and funny shenanigans that they need their brother more than they thought. They all make up at the end, happy happy cry cry. It worked for Drake and Josh is done, so I don't see why it couldn't work here. But the choices they made to tell this story... No. First and foremost, all 3 brothers are out of character for one reason or another. The whole conflict is set into motion because Grizz and Panda were a little late for dinner, leading to Ice Bear throwing their meals in the trash and leaving the house. I mean, to be fair, he clearly did work hard on the meals, but... Really? Dumping the food and skipping out because dinner got a little cold? It doesn't even seem like he was waiting that long, maybe a few minutes or something. This seems incredibly petty for Ice Bear to do, and the saddest part is that there are so many things they could have done to make this understandable. They could have shown us a moving clock to symbolize the minutes going by as he waits, which they do, but only for Grizz and Panda's part. And trust me, we'll get to them next. We could have been shown a montage of all the other times that he cooked for them, and they were either unappreciative or late. That would have added a lot more context. Or instead of having him leave right away, keep the food on the table, and when Grizz and Pan finally come in, Ice Bear could just sit there with his arms folded and give them the dead eyes. Then you can have him say something like, Ice Bear worked really hard on this. Or maybe, you made Ice Bear wait too long. But being tired from marathoning the news show, the bears just ignore what he says, finish their meals quickly, leave the dishes on the table, and don't even give him a thank you. You know, a chain of events, like the beginning of Maternatron Knows Best from Jimmy Neutron. There's so many ways you could have fixed this simple problem. As for Grizz and Panda, their motivations are even worse. When they find out where Ice Bear stormed off to after dumping their dinners, what's their first plan of action? Get a replacement. Yeah, not the sensible thing like confront them about it or talk to them first, like they did literally 1 episode ago. Nah, just find a new brother right away. Now, I understand that when you're angry, sometimes you make irrational decisions, but this is Grizz we're talking about, the guy that's always supportive, encouraging, and very protective of his little bros. I have zero problem with him getting angry, he's not perfect after all, but straight up replacing his brother just because of one misunderstanding and without even talking to him first? That's just too extreme for his character in my opinion. Second, the focus feels a little too one-sided in this story. I mean, for an episode called Losing Ice, we don't really see that much of Ice Bear's side of the story. Aside from the beginning, which I already mentioned, how is this whole situation affecting him? Does he have any regrets? Where's he living now? At the restaurant? Did he rent an apartment with his job money? If you're gonna focus on people arguing, it's best to split the focus between both sides. But nope! 90% of the episode is all Grizz and Panda, who basically just pout and whine like children the whole time, without any real comedy or entertainment value to justify it. In fact, now would be the perfect time for a little karmic justice on these two for how they treated Ice Bear. You know, unfortunate situations that come off as comical to us. Again, like in Josh's Done. But nope, just the two of them complaining while Daryl gets the blunt end of the punishment and torture. And speaking of Daryl, holy cow, I just feel so bad for this guy. He's trying his hardest to be a good brother. He puts up with so much of Grizz and Panda's nonsense, but he gets nothing but insults and abuse from these two. And I could give it some credit if it was funny, but it isn't. Even the final scene where he nails the bear stack and rushes to the airport to bring a family back together, guess what happens at the end? He gets arrested, just for a final kick in the teeth. Thank God this guy comes back for more episodes because this was just so sad to watch. The only reason I'm giving this a few points is because if you take out Daryl's arrest, the ending is actually really sweet, somber, and nice. Also, getting to see Ice Bear work at a hibachi restaurant is just so fitting it hurts. Hibachi chefs are the freaking coolest, by the way. You get dinner and a show from the same person, and the food is always fantastic. It's a shame that my favorite season also has to have my least favorite episode of the show. The motivations are way too rushed, the storytelling is sloppy, the old characters don't feel like themselves, the new character is constantly dumped on without any kind of relief, and the funny and memorable portions are just too few and far between. I never want the Bears to lose Ice Bear again, but if the show wanted to lose this episode, that'd be fine by me. Whew, sorry that took a while, but now some honorable mentions and then the top 3. Christmas Parties, a Christmas special that rounds up all the show's best side characters and shows us how they celebrate the holidays. It's a shame that the Bears had to rush through everyone's festivities. Any one of these parties could have been entertaining enough for their own episode. Also, such a sweet and wholesome ending. Bear Cleanse, using the species of each bear to tell a story about the struggles of doing diets? Sounds great! And it's packed with fantastic gags and great escalation among the bros, until literally everything comes crashing down. Also, Ice Bear befriending a seal that he was supposed to be eating is just all kinds of adorable. Yard Sale, by far the best example of an episode where each bear gets a side plot and then they all come together in the end for one big climax. If you can literally give your main characters a box of free junk, see what happens, and wind up with an entertaining story, then you know your cast is a solid one. And Captain Kraboo, the first double-length episode of the show, and while it starts off kinda slow, it does pick up well, with some great action and tons of charming moments. The amount of personality they were able to give to this crab is incredible, and I'm hoping he makes some kind of appearance in the movie. Number 3 best, Everyone's Tube. The concept and narrative device for this episode is pure, unbridled genius. We know that the bears are big when it comes to social media. Grizz trying to make viral videos, Panda constantly on dating websites and Twitter, so how about we have an entire episode where we get to learn more about the characters' personalities and interests by literally just going online and watching their YouTube videos. As a longtime man of YouTube, you have no clue how much I love this idea. They've really managed to capture the feeling of what it's like to just be bored one day and browse YouTube. Like, alright, what do we got here? Okay, trending tab, of course. Oh, yep, titles with all caps and phrases like so funny and lol in there. Gotta have those. Top 10s, dance tutorials, lip sync videos, music videos. I'll just watch something and see where it goes. You've also got some of the nostalgic bits for old-time YouTube fans, like Grizz making that one video with barely any views but tons of those translucent notes and links popping up. It's one of the examples of how I think this show will soon be seen less as a dated piece of garbage and more as a charming time capsule of older technologies and trends. And it's not just the premise that I love, but the videos themselves are really entertaining too. You got Panda trying to lip sync to a cute song, but constantly gets interrupted by his brothers, which is just amazing. And just the little things, like accidentally forgetting where the song starts so you mess up. I can't tell you how many times I did that while trying to do song covers. Grizz keeps trying to make the cool and trendy videos that are desperate for attention, but the guy watching just dislikes every single one of them without even finishing them. That's just beautiful comedy. And when we get to Ice Bear's solo production, you know that music video for Weapon of Choice by Fatboy Slim? The one where Christopher Walken dances around an empty office and finishes by flying all over the place? Yeah, Ice Bear literally does his own version of that video. And every single thing about it is just pure, unexpected, what the heck am I watching beauty. It's perfectly in character for Ice Bear, the song slaps, and it might be one of my favorite moments in the whole show. I don't blame you, man. I'd subscribe after hearing that too. I don't know, maybe I'm overpraising a mostly simple episode, but I can't get over just how charming this is, how much I smiled while watching this. I could watch a whole season of episodes that just feature the cast's YouTube feed, and I guarantee I would enjoy it. I definitely say it's worth a watch. And while on the subject of YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share on social media, slap the bell, pet the kitty, call your mom, tell her you love her, eat your pizza. I don't know, whatever people usually say. Number 2 best, Icy Nights.
Wow, putting one of the most critically acclaimed and well-known episodes of the show in your top 3. How original and unexpected of you, Finn.
I know, but hey, this episode is widely praised for multiple reasons. Not just because of how well made, well paced, and well written it is, but because it's just on a completely different wavelength when compared to all the other Bears episodes. We Bare Bears is a simple, charming slice-of-life comedy that focuses on everyday situations. But Icy Nights is a chilling, dramatic action thriller with an air of mystery that keeps seeping into the room. Stakes, loss, heartbreak, cunning antagonists, and old flames. Heck, even the title card has low-key electronic music playing and the title in neon lights against the starry night sky. Like, if you wanted to feel the vibe of the episode before it even gets started, there you go. We see Ice Bear travel all around the city, going to shady hideouts and getting tips from informants, while also hinting at some past relationships that we never really knew about before. And like all great mysteries, it reveals just enough to keep you interested, but still leaves enough unknown to make you want to ask questions and learn more. I don't know about you guys, but combining the mysterious characters, the exploration of the city's underbelly, and the yet-to-be-defeated villain, I was yearning for an Icy Nights 2 by the end of this, which we eventually did get, and I'll talk about that in Season 3. The action is also just fantastic. The final battle of Ice Bear versus the Programmer's bots shows off just how skilled at combat Ice Bear actually is, as well as exactly what mods he added to his special vacuum cleaner. And when that poor thing bites the dust, Ice Bear goes full-on savage, and single-handedly demolishes an entire army of robots. I'm pretty sure he would have killed that thieving nerd too if he didn't pull a Sirach and hologram out at the last minute. Never forget, you mess with Ice Bear's modded Roomba, you mess with his soul. This episode is not just fantastic because it's different. It's fantastic because it keeps you engaged, intrigued, and above all, entertained. The atmosphere is fantastic, the Programmers are great antagonists, and Ice Bear is as awesome as ever, in both the visual and the audio department. You gotta give it up to both Dimitri Martin and the animators. They really convey a lot of emotion through Ice Bear despite having next to no dialogue for him. This is one icy night I won't soon forget, and I'm sure to still feel the chills of it for years to come. And the number one best episode of We Bare Bears Season 2 is Yuri and the Bear.
Wow, putting one of the most critically acclaimed.
I get it. Shut up. And honestly, is there any reason why this shouldn't be number one? Not only is this an adorable story of a Russian explorer and his little baby ice bear growing closer over time, but through the use of only animation and very limited dialogue, the creators convey so much emotion to the audience that your heart swells up with feels at the start and completely snaps in half by the end. Yuri is in an environment of nothingness, an endless sea of white that goes on for miles and miles, far away from civilization, and worst of all, far away from his family, whom he clearly loves very much. In a cold, harsh environment, Yuri has to be strong and sturdy to survive, and I imagine that getting emotional over his family being far away is a weakness he just can't afford right now. If he ever wants to return to them, he has to be able to make it out of this situation alive. So he locks up his family keepsakes in a chest to keep them out of sight and out of mind. He refuses to form any other bonds with other people, out of fear that he may have to abandon them at some point, which will be even more painful. So he braves the harsh environment alone, fearful and grieving deep down, but never making it known. But then out of the nothingness comes something, a little baby polar bear with nowhere to go. Yuri first takes him on as a servant who worked for food and shelter, but as time goes by, he slowly forms a companionship with this little friend, the first one he's had in a long time. The little bear also becomes more comfortable around Yuri, having a place to call his own after wandering in the snow for so long. It eventually gets to the point where the little bear opens up Yuri's family chest and tries to make him a special gift based on what he finds in there. Not just as a little thank you for all he's done for him, but possibly as a way to show that Yuri is like family to him now. But Yuri, still afraid to be weak when he needs to be strong, turns the bear away in a rage. But before hunters can capture the bear, Yuri rescues him just in the nick of time. And when he's surrounded with seemingly no chance of escape, he sends the little bear off on an iceberg to keep him safe. His only companion for who knows how long, gone away forever, with only a signed axe to remember him by. But while his little friend is gone, the impact he's had on his life is still evident, as he proudly displays his family picture and the little bear's gift on the same shelf, realizing that love for someone else is not a weakness. If anything, it's a strength that he will not box up and ignore ever again. As for the little bear, he's upset at first, but eventually stands tall and vows to be strong and powerful like his good friend and father figure was. And that little bear grows up to be the talented and well-rounded ice bear that we know today. Now think about this. I got all that touching storytelling, all that great characterization, just by watching the character inflections and mostly silent interactions. Except for a few lines from Yuri, this is all done through the visuals, and it still manages to be the most emotionally gripping and tear-jerking narrative of the entire season, while at the same time giving us insight on Ice Bear and showing us the origins of his huge portfolio of skills, like cooking, axe wielding, speaking Russian, and even talking in the third person. It's an origin story that takes full advantage of both the origin and the story, creating a fantastic little narrative that I could watch again and again and still get misty-eyed over. While I truly do love the simple, silly slice of life style of We Bare Bears, seeing episodes like this one every once in a while shows that the creators aren't afraid to step outside the boundaries of the show's premise, if they want to deliver something truly fantastic. And deliver something fantastic they did. Yuri and the Bear is yet another good example of how the show is far more than first meets the eye, and is something that any fan of cartoons should watch. It's a powerful, touching, and truly amazing episode, and is without question my favorite of Season 2. Well, that's all I've got for you today. Tell me what your favorite episodes of Season 2 were, and subscribe for more We Bare Bears and cartoon content coming up. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and I hope to see you all real soon.